everybody. Welcome to Crafts by KMW. So happy that you are here, and I hope you will enjoy this Halloween color along. So as you can see, and as you probably already know from the video thumbnail, that the color along is from Spirit Animals by Hannah Karlzon. I just got this book yesterday from Amazon. I've probably looked through it about 10 times already. Absolutely love it, and I can't believe that I didn't find this book and purchase it sooner. I have one other Hannah Karlzon book, which is Daydreams, and I just don't know how I missed this one because I love every single double page spread and know that I will color this entire book, every single illustration in it. So when I saw this page, I thought it would be perfect for a Halloween color along. So if you have this book and haven't colored this page yet, I hope you will join me, but you are welcome to color any page that you would like. I don't view color alongs as just a video that shows you how to color a particular page. I see them as companionship. Coloring is a very solitary craft, like most crafts are. And so it's really nice when you can have somebody there coloring along with you, even if you're not coloring the same page. If you have another Halloween page, or if you have Tales from the Witch's Cottage, there are several pictures in there with witches on there. You could even color one of those. Color whatever you would like. I open it up to anyone, and I invite you to use different colors than mine. I don't have a website or Facebook page yet because my channel is new. I'm just getting started. So I'm going to be making a Facebook page soon, and I would love for you to post your completed pages, whether it's this one or another page you colored with this color along. I'd love to see your work and the creativity and the beautiful ideas that other colorists come up with. So let me share the plan with you first so you can start getting your materials if you would like to color this the way I am or similar to me. So I have a lot of metallic gel pens and markers out. So I have a Jelly Roll. I believe this is like a copper color. And then I have Jelly Roll Metallic Gold. I have a silver metallic marker that I bought on Amazon. You get 6, and you can buy them 6 silver, 6 gold, or a combo pack, and that's what I got. I really like those pens. Really good value for what you get. And then I have a clear glitter Jelly Roll pen that I might use to give some of the elements a little bit of glitter, especially her hair. And then I have a white Uniball Signo gel pen, thinking that will be for stars in the sky and possibly some highlights. Then I'm using all Prismacolors except for the skin. So I have black and white, of course, and I also have a white metallic marker. This one is, I can't tell what company it's by, but it comes in a pack of, I think, 10 or 12 markers. And it's really nice. It gives a little bit of sheen and glitter, but you could just use a white gel pen or a Uniball pen or a Posca marker, whatever you like. And then for the background, I'm going to use black chalk pastel, and I have a Stabilo Carb Othello pencil for that. And I have a eyeshadow applicator to spread out and apply the pastel. And that will be the last thing that I do on this page. For the border, which is made of sticks, I have several colors of brown. So I have dark brown, which is 946. I have dark umber, which is 947. And then I have light umber, which is 941. And then for the leaves, I have dark green, which is 908. Kelp green, which is 1090. And then olive green, which is 911. And then for these little bands on the sticks, I'm going to use, wait, hold on, where's my color? Okay, I'm going to use beige sienna, which is 1080. So then for these flowers, and I was trying to think of colors that would work with the other colors that I'm using. So I thought yellow would work, and it's nice and fallish. So I chose sable, which is 940, cream, 914, and canary yellow, which is 916. And then I have warm gray 10% to use as accents on the clouds. And then for the sun, I'm going to be using gold pen and marker on the, I guess, the spindles or the flares. And then for the actual sun, I'm going to use 4 colors that come from a tutorial by Color with Claire to do like antique gold or antique brass. And so those colors are sepia 948, espresso 1099, lime peel 1005, and jasmine 1012. And then for her outfit and her hat, I'm going to be using violet 932, which is a really nice deep purple. It's not as blue, I think, as like deep purple, but it's a really nice dark color. And then black grape 996 for the darker shadowy parts. And then for her hair, I chose lilac 956 and Parma Violet 1008. And then also for her hair is Chartreuse 989 and Kelly Green 1096. So I'm going to do half of her hair the purples and then the bottom part green. So I thought that would be fun and interesting. And then for her skin, I'm using Crayola Colors of the World. I love those pencils. They're so easy to use, and they allow you to do so many different skin colors. They come in 3 different sets of colors, like almond, rose, and golden. And so you can get pretty much any skin tone from very, very light to very, very dark. So I chose the golden hues for this. So I'm going to use light medium golden, light golden. See, my pencils are very small because I've been using them. And then very light golden for the base color of her skin. I think that covers all the colors that I'm using. And as I go through, I will definitely mention what colors I'm using again. So if you have Prismas and are using the same colors, you can follow along. Or if you're using a different set of pencils, you can find a similar color. So what I thought I would do is start with all of the pens and gel pens that I want to do so they can dry and have enough time to solidify so I'm not smearing them or smudging them. So I'm going to start with her buttons here on her turtleneck, and I'm just going to color those with gold Jelly Roll pen. And then I'm going to color one of her bracelets in this same color. And then I'm going to color the other bracelet in copper. And again, this is a Jelly Roll, but there's tons of different metallic markers on the market that you can use. And then for those little beads, I'm going to color them white. And I'm using my white metallic marker. And I may have to come back and do another coat on that. And then for her earring here, I'm going to do that in silver. So I'm going to use silver Jelly Roll. And I'm going to let that dry. So I had to get a little smearing there. Exactly what I was trying to avoid. Okay, that can be fixed and that will be colored over. All right, and so now I'm gonna do the earrings. So I think I want the little beads to be gold and copper. So I'm going to color this one copper and this middle one copper. And then this one gold. And these two gold. And then this little teardrop in the middle, I'm going to do white. So I'm going to use my Signo for that. And then I'm going to do the other two little, I don't even know what they are, little teardrops in silver. And once that dries, I can come and do a little touch up and add a little more color to that. Okay, so I have a black Jelly Roll glaze pen that I'm going to use for these little marks on her forehead as if they are tattoos. So I'm just going to come in and color those. Okay, so now I'm going to move, I can zoom in a little bit. Now I'm going to do the sun. So for this, I'm going to use the copper and the gold metallic jelly roll. So I think I like the copper on these taller, more angular ones. This reminds me of a little sun decoration I have on my porch that I put out in the summertime, and it looks exactly like this, except for the face, but it has the same type of little rays or spindles coming out. And you may hear some noise in the background. It's my dishwasher. I got to the point where I couldn't wait anymore to turn it on, so it's almost done, so it should not be too much of a distraction anymore. Okay. Now I'm going to come in with the gold and do these wavy ones. Oh, maybe I was wrong. There it goes again. I don't know about your dishwasher, but mine seems to run forever. The cycle takes so long. Okay. And then I think what I'm going to do is actually use some colored pencil on these little teeny tiny points. So I'm not going to color those right now. So I'm going to let that dry, and then I'll come back and do the inside of the face, those details. And so now I'm going to focus on this symbol here. So I am going to do the outside of this sort of curved border. I'm going to do that in gold. I love these jelly rolls. They go on really smoothly on plain paper. They don't work so well on items that are already colored with wax pencil, but they do really well on the raw paper itself. And they're really great for smaller details. Love them. I think this is probably the third or fourth gold that I've had. I just keep going through them. All right, I'm gonna let that dry a little bit before I go on to something else and smear it. So I'm gonna come back up here to this earring, and I think I'm gonna color the background behind that triangle black, and then the inside of the triangle, I think I'm going to do gold. So I'm gonna color the gold first, then I'll let that dry and fill that circle in with black. And while I'm waiting for that to dry, I think I'm going to color these circles over here by the sun with my white metallic marker. I kind of see them as little bubbles. And I'm just going back over all of them real quick, just to make sure they're totally colored. All right. Okay, I'm hoping that triangle is dry or mostly dry now. So I'm gonna come in with the black and color inside. Okay. Okay, so next I'm gonna go back to this. And I am going to color the spindles silver. So I'm going to do these with two different silvers. So I have metallic marker and then the jelly roll. So I'm gonna do the smaller ones with the marker. It's a little bit flatter. Doesn't have as much shine to it. I guess you could say it's more matte as well. It's a nice marker to do knives with. And now I'm gonna do the larger ones with the metallic jelly roll. So both of those will have a little bit of a different look. If you hear some odd noises, it's my cat. He sees a bird outside, so I think he may be making some weird noises, so sorry about that. Okay, and next I am going to color the inner scallop here, or loop, with black. I should probably start from over here, and I don't do that. I think being right-handed, I just naturally go towards the right side of everything. Okay. Okay, so I'm gonna let that dry for a bit. So while that is drying, I'm going to color the moon with my white metallic marker. And I will probably go over this in gel pen as well. And I'll definitely add the details such as the face in black or silver, I'm not sure. Or maybe both. I think that's the fun of coloring. You get to change your mind. Okay. All right, so now I'm going to take black and I'm going to color the outside of the circle and then these swirls as well. So I hope you are having a good day today so far. I am. It's still pretty early on a Saturday, so it's nice not to have to work. And I get to do some serious coloring today. Saturdays are my me day, and then Sundays are the days where I get back to work and I do housework that needs to be done, cleaning, laundry, work things, answering emails, that kind of thing. Okay, again, I should have done this one first, but for some reason I don't do that. Luckily, this pen flows really nicely, and you don't have to put a lot of effort into it. And if you do make a mistake and go outside the lines, like I just did there, you don't have to worry, because if you do the background dark, like mine's going to be black, you'll be absolutely fine and it won't show. And then I'm going to come back later with some white gel pen and add back in the details, the little curves and that, to show that this is three-dimensional and not just flat. All right, so I'm going to let that dry. So while that's drying, I'm going to come up at the top and start working on the broomstick. So I'm going to do an overall color of the sticks with sable, and then I'm going to come back in and add more dimension with some browns. Just sharpening. So I forgot to mention at the beginning that I also have my blender pencil handy. I use the Prismacolor colorless blender. I love that. I think it blends really well, and it works really good on high quality paper, which this is in these books. Sometimes if you're not getting really good blending results, it could be because the paper is not really great. In coloring, the paper means everything. All right, so now I'm gonna come in with the light umber. And just go over some of the parts that I've colored. Now I'm doing more of strokes, kind of slashes. Since this is straw, you don't want it to look totally flat and neat and even and uniform. It's going to be all spindly and rough. And then I'm going to take a little bit of dark umber and just add some of that around. I'm not doing this with any sort of precision. I'm just kind of deciding where it would look good, and then I put it down. Okay, and that is the hay on the broomstick. And then I'm going to take this dark umber. I was sharpening it, and I'm going to color in the little bands. All right, so that is finished. So hopefully the black is mostly dry, so I can come back and add some more in here. So I am going to take my copper and I'm going to do the centers of the scallops and then these little pieces here. And then I'm going to do these circles black. Or half circles, I should say. Semicircles. Okay. And then inside of those, I'm going to do silver. And I'm going to do these little circles here, silver, with my jelly roll. My cat was just wanting to come up, and it's like, no, you cannot come up here now while I have wet gel pen. Okay. All right, so while that dries a little bit more, I'm going to do the wood on the broomstick. So to contrast with the sticks and the hay on the broom part of it, I'm going to use darker colors. So I'm going to use dark brown, and this one I have in a pencil extender because this is getting kind of short. These pencil extenders are great. If you've never tried them, they are really a lifesaver when your pencils start getting really small, as they will if you color a lot. And I only have 3 main sets of colored pencils. So I have the Prismacolor full set, and then I have the Brutfuner 520, which are oil-based pencils, and then I have Spectrum Noir's Color Blend. So my colors don't go down as much as they probably would, but I do use them up. So now I'm gonna come in with some dark umber along the edges. To give that appearance of the broomstick being round, 3D. And then I'm gonna add some white in the center for highlight. The white Prismacolor pencil is awesome. It goes over anything, and then it also blends for you, so I don't have to go back and do a blender pencil on that. All right, so I think that is good. So while I'm waiting for that, I'm gonna come in to the sun again and do these little highlights around the circles in gold. And I'm using my gold jelly roll. Okay, that one I did partially on the leaf, but that's okay. Actually, now that I'm thinking about it, I think I need to wait to do the background for that. So I'm not going to continue with that. So I am going to now do the star with my gold jelly roll. Can't believe it's almost Halloween already. I'm wondering where the time is gone. Pretty soon we'll be having snow. I don't know where you live, but I live in the eastern United States, so we are bracing for snow pretty soon. So The eye I'm going to do, I think the inner eye I'm going to do maybe blue. I think that would give it a lot of contrast. This is a glaze as well, and I'm going to do the eye. And then to coordinate with the purples that I'm using, I'm going to do these little points here with purple metallic jelly roll. Like I thought I would just do everything gold, silver, and bronze, but it just felt like it was getting too boring and too monotone. So I needed to inject a little bit of color in here. So I think that is looking really good. Yeah, I like that. Gives it a little bit of pizzazz. And then I'm thinking that these need to be something different too. So I have a really nice dark blue. I think I'm gonna do that. Again, just to give it a little bit of contrast. Yeah, I like that. Okay. So we're gonna let that dry. And so now I'm going to pull out a pink jelly roll, I think. See if I have a light one. No, they're not light enough. Okay, so I will do that in colored pencil. So I was thinking I would do the cheeks with jelly roll, but they're too dark. Let's see if I have a metallic marker. That's too dark too. Yeah, everything is too dark, so I think I will do that in colored pencil because I want the cheeks to just be really light, just a little touch of color, not overwhelming. So I'll do those with colored pencil. All right, so now while that dries, I think I will start on the leaves. So I usually work dark to light. So I'm gonna take my darkest shade of green, which is the dark green, and I'm going to color around the edges of the leaves. And you want to press a little bit lighter as you get towards the center. So then you can blend that next color into it. So this folded over part, I'm going to do all dark. Okay. So there's a few just to show you. And then I'm going to use the olive next. To blend in with that dark green. And then the kelp in the very center. Forgot that one. And then for the centers of the leaves, I'm going to do a little bit of the kelp at the top. Pressing down a little bit so it's a little darker, so you can see the differentiation. And then I'm going to take my light umber and continue the rest of that because it kind of stems from the stick. So it continues, it grows out from the stick into the leaf. And then I'll just blend that in with the kelp green. So that's how I'm gonna do the leaves. And I'm gonna take my blender pencil and blend that in. And this paper is super, super nice. It blends so well. The blender pencil works perfectly on it. And then I'm gonna just go over it a little bit more with that dark green to give a little more contrast on the edges. So that's how I'm gonna do the leaves. I think these leaves here, I'm gonna do a little bit differently because I see them as being a different kind of leaf. So I'm just gonna work on the leaves on the sticks just that way. So I would love it if you would leave a comment about if you liked this video, this color along, and if you have any suggestions. Sorry, Finn, not right now. Okay, he knocked my colored pencil off the table, so now I have to find it. Okay. So as I was saying, before I was interrupted, if you would like to leave a comment about what you liked, what any feedback. Remember to be respectful to myself as well as others. And if you have any suggestions for further color alongs. There's actually another page in this book, actually 2 other pages in this book that I think would make fantastic color alongs for Halloween. One is the snake spirit animal spread. And you have that gorgeous girl with a snake wrapped around her neck, and then this really cool headdress or crown made of snakes. I think that would make a really cool Halloween color along. Snakes are kind of creepy and sneaky and dangerous. And then there's another page. That one, I believe, yes, is the bat spirit animal that I think I want to do. That one shows a beautiful girl with bat wings in the background coming off of her. I think they may be attached to her, part of her. Just a beautiful, beautiful illustration by Hannah. I think that one would make a really, really nice Halloween color along as well. So that's what I think is coming up. But if you have any suggestions, I was thinking of doing one for the Beauty of Horror as well. I have the Beauty of Horror books 1, 2, 3, and 5. And there's one in there that has 2 really creepy pumpkins with a scarecrow. And I thought that one would be a really nice one for a color along as well. So now I'm using my olive to come in. And on some of these, I won't be using too much olive because the leaf is pretty small. And I want to leave enough room for the kelp. So I'd love for you to let me know what you want to see and what you thought about this color along. I just love coloring, and I'm really excited to share that passion with others. I just bought 2 more sets of gelatos, so now I have 3. I have I think both sets of metallics, and then I have a pastel set, and then I have some of their special edition. Oh, sorry about that. I hit my arm. Special edition sets. One's 60 colors, and another one is, I can't remember what set that was because I took them all out of the packaging and put them in another container, but I want to use those in a color along. So if you have any suggestions for that, I would love to hear them. us a little sharpen. I would love to hear what sharpener you use. I have really had a hard time. I really found that I don't love any of them. I have all different kinds. I have Prismacolor. I have a Statler one that I just used. I have some generic ones. And I don't like any of them. I don't think any of them work really great at all. And I'm really kind of disappointed with how all of them work. I think just generally pencil sharpeners just don't last very long. You can't sharpen them, you can't sharpen the blades, so naturally they're going to break down. And so I just think that inherently you have to have different kinds and different ones to use when one isn't functioning very well. So I have about 6. Oh, I forgot to color that leaf. Okay. On my table right now that I am rotating between. Let me make sure I got all the leaves. I think so. All right, so now I'm just going to take my blender pencil and blend. I'd love to see in the comments if you have used Gamsol or odorless mineral spirits and how you like them. I just bought my first bottle of Gamsol, and I just got it the other day, and I haven't used it yet. I've seen it used on multiple videos. It seems like it works really well, so I'm excited to try it, but I'm still looking for more feedback, or if anyone has any tips or tricks to using it. Seems like it's quite toxic, so I'm wondering if I need to wear a mask when I use it. I'd love to know if you use it on smaller areas. Is it good for that, or is it better just to use a blender pencil? I just flung one of my pencils in the my garbage can. Okay. All right, I think I'm happy with those. So I think just to make sure that my pens are finished down here, I'm going to continue with the sticks. But first I'm going to do these 2 leaves down here. I did not see those earlier. That always happens to me. I color an element and I think I've gotten all of it. And then I find something else, some more in another part of a page. Now, as you've probably seen, I do not color in multiple layers. And for me, I feel like this paper doesn't really seem to need multiple layers at all. It's working beautifully with 1 layer. The blending pencil works perfectly, and so I'm not feeling like I need to use multiple layers. So I'd love to see your thoughts on layering and how many layers you use. Do you use a blender to blend, or do you burnish? Love to see your thoughts on that. Okay, leaves are done. So now I'm going to start with the sticks. So there's 2 of these binders up here, so I'm going to use my beige sienna on those. Actually, there's 3. See, again, I missed one. Okay. And then I'm going to come in with just a teeny tiny bit of dark umber on those, just to add a little bit of dimension there. All right, so now for these, I'm going to do pretty much the same technique I did on the leaf. So I'm going to color the whole stick with a lighter brown, and then come in with darker around the edges, and then a little bit lighter inside that to give it the appearance of being 3D and being round and not flat. So I'm using my light umber. And I'm not going very, very dark because I want the center to really contrast with the edges once I start using the darker colors. Okay, and I'm seeing I need to sharpen. Are you right-handed and always start on the right? I'm really excited to color her. I like coloring this other stuff, but I really enjoy coloring the main subject of the pages the best. So in this page, it's definitely her. So I'm looking forward to coloring her. Sometimes I color the parts that I like the best first. Other times I color the other things like sticks and trees and background first before I color the main subjects. That's kind of what I did here. All right, so I have that lighter brown down. So now I am going to use my dark umber, and that's going to be the edge. I'm not pressing too terribly hard, just using, I would say, medium, light to medium pressure. And it's not going to be a very thick line, just a very small area. Because these sticks aren't super, super wide, so you don't need to go too deep. Now you could color this where you do the darker colors first. That's normally how I work. I did that on the leaves, but for this, I want to make sure that the lighter color is in the center. So that's why I started with an all over color. I usually do hair that way as well, and skin. So I use the lightest color and color the hair and skin in, and then I come back with the darkest color, and then I go dark to light. There's no right or wrong way to do it. It's just whatever you like to do, whatever works for you. Okay, I'm just going to do this bottom part. Now, actually, I'm thinking I don't even need to come in with another color. I think that's enough. But I am going to use dark brown and just do some of these swirls, some of these random swirls or little curvy areas in the dark brown, just to give a little more contrast. Just doing a few, not many. So as you can see, it's really subtle, but it just adds a little bit more dimension to the wood. Okay, so I'm not going to blend that because I like the roughness of it. I like how some areas are a little lighter and some are a little darker. So I'm just going to leave that as it is. So now I want to work a little bit more on the sun and on this. So for the sun, I'm just going to pull out my hot pink 993, and I'm just very lightly going to color those cheeks. I'm going to do it a little darker around the edge. And then I'm just gonna blend with white. Okay. I think that gives it a little air of fun. Then I'm going to do the eyebrows in black. Okay. And then these little rays, I'm going to use the canary yellow. It's a nice bright yellow. Gives a little bit of contrast with the gold and the bronze. I like that. Okay. Yeah. All right, now I'm gonna do the inside of the face. So I'm going to use colors that will make it look like tarnished brass or tarnished gold. And so this is the sepia, espresso, lime peel, and jasmine. So again, this is not my idea. This was a tutorial from Claire of Color with Claire, and I absolutely love it. And now I find that on almost every page, I try to find an element where I can use this technique. So what I'm gonna do first is color around the outside edge with the sepia. And as I'm moving into the center, it's going to be a little bit lighter. So I can blend with the next color, which is espresso. And I think before I continue, I'm gonna color the eyes. I'm gonna add some blue to the eyes. Okay. Just so I don't forget about those. So next I'm gonna do the espresso and Blending that into the sepia and coming further in to the center. Just making sure that center edge is light. Then I'm gonna use my lime peel. And I remember when I first saw this, I thought it was so weird. I'm like, what do you mean lime peel? Like, why would I put green on something that I want to look gold or brass? And you will see in just a minute. It makes a really nice transition between the espresso and the jasmine. And if you look at things that are tarnished, they do have a little hint of green to them. So it really does make sense. So now I'm just going all over with the jasmine, all over all three of the other colors, and in the center. And now I'm going to take my blender and blend that together. And so it really does look like tarnished gold or tarnished brass. So now I have to do the center of this, and to be honest, I'm not really sure what color I want to use. I think silver would be the best choice. So I'm using my silver jelly roll and filling this in. So the dots I did in silver, so I'm just going to go over them with the copper. Once I finish coloring the silver. I love working with a gel pen and markers and such, but sometimes it's really stressful because you have to be very careful not to go over the lines if you've colored other elements, because it's not like you can erase it. Now you can wipe it off if you get it right away. I'd gotten a little of the silver on the blue area, and so I was able to wipe that off pretty quickly, but the goal is not to have to do that too often. All right, got a little bit of the silver on the black, so I'm just gonna go over that so I don't forget it. Okay, phew, done with that. Except for inner part now. And the eyelashes, I will come back and draw those in with black once that fully dries. Okay. I'm just gonna add my copper circles back in. Okay. All right. So I'm gonna let that dry before I draw my eyelashes back in on the eye. So now I'm gonna work on these leaves and these little flowers. I'm not sure if maybe they're meant to be wheat. I don't really know, but I'm gonna work on those. So I'm gonna pull my sand, my cream, and my canary yellow. So I'm gonna start with the darkest color and just do an overall color on these, and that is the cream. I'm gonna wait a minute to do the other side to give the gel pen more time to dry there. So I'm gonna do these and then I'll go back and do the other side. So now I'm going to color the long little parts yellow. This is the canary yellow, the brightest yellow. And now I'm going to color the bottom of the little separate leaves with the canary yellow. It's just a really small little spot because these leaves are so tiny. You're not really coloring much or putting much color down. It's just a teeny tiny little bit. And then I'm going to come in with the sable and just add a little bit on top of that canary yellow. So these have a little bit of dimension. The tops have a little bit of lightness, almost look white. Okay, and there we are with that. So the leaves, I'm going to do olive green for the stems and these skinny parts of the leaves. Okay. And now I'm going to use my chartreuse for the main leaf. So I'm just going to color in the center of these leaves the chartreuse. And then I'm going to fill in the rest with lime peel. And now I'm going to come back in with that olive green and go over the center and then the edges. And now I'm going to take my blender and blend that all together. Okay, and there I have those. So now I think this is a little drier, so I'm gonna come and work on this side and do these the exact same way. I need to give my pencils a little bit of a sharpen first. Okay. So I really wanted these leaves to contrast with the ones that are on the border on the branches. So I wanted them to be very different. So that was my cream. So now I'm coming in again with my canary yellow at the base of each little petal or leaf or section. Again, I don't know exactly what this plant or flower is, but I thought the yellow would go nicely with the fall theme and blend in well with the other colors I have going. Like yellow's on the opposite side of the color wheel to the blues and purples, so. Okay. And again, I'm doing these little stem things in the canary yellow. Okay. I'm taking my olive green to these little thin leaves and these stems. And then to the folded edges of the leaves. There aren't too many, there's only one there. Okay. So now I have my chartreuse to color the center of the leaves. You could color the whole leaf, it really doesn't matter. It would give you some more layers. That would be fine. And then my lime peel. I think I'm really gonna like doing color alongs because you are able to, and it forces you to, color an entire page all at once. Usually I color elements of one page and then I move on to another page and then I might move on to another book. So I'm all over the place and it takes me a really long time to finish one page. I'd love to hear how you color and finish your pages. But I get bored pretty easily, so sometimes if I'm coloring one page, I get bored and I think of all the other pages that I have to color in my other books or another page in that book that might be just as cool and I want to color that too, so I tend to move on. So I rarely sit down to finish one page at a time, unless I really, really love the page. So this gives me an opportunity to and I guess the motivation to finish one page in one sitting. Okay. So I think those are looking pretty cool. That adds some lightness into the page. So now I think this is pretty dry, yes. So I'm going to carefully Draw the eyelashes back in. Okay, they're a little thicker than I would have liked, but it's okay. So now I'm going to, I think, address the clouds. So I have 10% warm gray that I'm going to use to just give a little bit of highlight to the clouds. So first, I'm going to color over them in white. And I really like this book and Hannah's books because the paper is not white. So when you use a white colored pencil, you can actually really see it. And you can actually color white elements much easier than you can on white paper. So I really like that ability to have such a contrast between the paper and white elements, things that you want to have white, such as clouds and snow. And I can see why people that buy PDFs print on like tan tone paper, because again, you get a real contrast between the paper and any white elements that you want to do on the page. All right, so have my little clouds colored white. And now I'm just going to use the 10% warm gray to just go over all of these little lines that Hannah has added and go around the edges a little bit. Give a little bit of contrast. I don't want them to look gray, but I just want to give them a little bit of dimension and pizzazz. So very light. Okay. All right. So now I'm going to take a darker gray. I'm going to use 20% warm gray. Actually, I think I want even darker. I think I'm going to do 30% warm gray. And I'm just going to put a shadow, a little line of gray around the moon. For a shadow. So it makes that moon look like it is above the clouds. I'm just going to put a little bit on the inside as well to further add contrast. I am not one that's big on light sources, so I just put my shadows wherever I like, usually on the bottom and to the right. So that's what I do. I'm not an artist, so I don't necessarily know where all of the light is coming from, so I just do what looks good for me. And I'm taking a pink pencil. I chose Nectar, and I'm just going very lightly over the cheek of that moon. And now I'm going to take a regular gel pen and draw in the details of the moon back in. Now you could use white for this. Totally. But I just want it to stand out a little bit more. And now I'm going to take my gold jelly roll and color in these stars. When I get close to finishing a page, I get so excited to see what it's going to look like and to see the final product. So I'm really looking forward to seeing what this page is going to finally look like. You could do these stars silver too. I think they would look adorable in silver. I just wanted a little bit of contrast because the moon is white and the clouds are white. So I just wanted a little bit of contrast. Okay. So while that is drying, I'm going to take my 10% gray and come over to these little bubbles and just do a little bit inside of the bigger ones. I'm not going to touch the larger one, the smaller ones, and just do a little ring inside to give a little bit of contrast and dimension to those. Okay. All right, so now we are ready to do the witch, which I'm really excited for. Been waiting to do her. So I'm gonna start with the hat. So I am using violet and black grape on her outfit. So I'm going to color in the hat with the black grape totally, and then I'm going to come back and add in darker areas with my black grape. So this is really the first larger area I've colored on this page. And I don't know if I said before, but this is my very first Hannah Karlzon page that I've colored. I have Daydreams also, but I have not colored in it yet. I work on about 10 to 12 books at one time. And right now I'm working on my Beauty of Horror books, some Anastasia Ellie Caldereva books, and Kirby Roseanne's Mythic World. So I'm really close to finishing all of those books. So once I finish them, I'm going to put other books in the rotation, and both of the Hannah Karlzon books will definitely be in there, along with my 2 Millie Murata books that I have, and World Within Worlds and Fragile World, amongst some others. Not sure what else it'll be yet. Okay. So hat is colored. So now I am going to, so I don't know if this part is supposed to be part of the hat, but I'm gonna make it part of the hat. I just feel like it looked weird being so skinny there. Yes, okay. So now I'm gonna come in with my black grape and as soon as I sharpen it. Okay, gotta switch sharpeners because that broke in there. Okay, so I'm gonna do this part a little darker. And top here. There. So on this top part of the hat, I'm going around the outer edge first with the black grape. And then I'm going in over the lines that Hannah has drawn in. And then I'm bringing out that black grape a little bit into the center. And now I'm going to take my blender pencil and blend that. And then I will most likely add some more once I have that all blended. Oh, it just blends so nice on this paper. Maybe when I'm coloring another page, I will try to use Gamsol and see how that works. I'd love to know if you've used Gamsol or mineral spirits in a Hannah Karlzon book and how it worked, how you liked it, if you have any tips. Okay. Now I'm going to come back in with my black grape and darken those areas again. And then I'm going to take white and just add some white in the center of the hat to give it a little lift, little lightness. A little bit over here. Okay. So I think it looks round, three-dimensional. I really like that color, really like that. So now I'm gonna come in and do the same thing with the dress or sweater that she has on. So starting with the violet. And after doing the leaves chartreuse, I'm actually rethinking using chartreuse for the green part of the hair. I'm going to change that. I'm not sure what I'm going to change it to. I'm still thinking. But I think it needs more of a brighter green, maybe spring green. I will decide that eventually. But yeah, I want more of a brighter green look to the hair. And the chartreuse just isn't cutting it for me. I'm looking forward to seeing how the Crayola pencils, when I do the skin, work with this paper. The Prismas go really well on it, so I'm wondering if that will be the same with the Crayola, which I think by everyone's assessment are considered budget pencils. Or budget-friendly pencils, I should say. And I'm not knocking them at all. I'm just saying that they are considered pencils that are on the more affordable side versus like Prismacolor and even Caran d'Ache and the Luminance, which are even more expensive than Prismacolor. I do not have any of those pencils. I don't know if I plan on getting any of those pencils. I'm really happy with the sets that I have. I really love my Prismacolor, obviously, as I'm using them now. And I really, really like the Brotfuner 520. The amount of colors in there and the different shades that they were able to achieve is just amazing. So many choices in that set. So I think I have enough. I'm not really looking to add any other sets. I did have an opportunity a few weeks ago to buy a set of, I believe it was the Caran d'Ache at my local art store. They had a set on sale. I think it was $150, and I'm not sure. I think there might have been 76 pencils in that set. I'm not exactly sure, but I was toying around with it, but then I thought, you know what? I still have a lot of the other sets that I've, most of the pencils in the sets that I've already bought, and I don't really need another set of pencils, so I passed on it. And I really don't regret that. I'm actually okay with it. I like the pencils that I have. I'm happy with them, so I didn't feel like that was a big loss not purchasing that set. So now I'm using my black grape around the edges and going over it with any lines that Hannah has drawn in. And I'm using it near where the hair falls on her outfit. And then I'm using it almost totally in some of these areas where it would just be darker because there's not a lot of light, like in here. And I've decided I'm gonna fix those eyelashes on here. So I'm gonna color over that with my metallic silver pen, and then I'm gonna draw those in with a finer lined gel pen, not the glaze like I used. I just don't like the way those eyelashes are looking right now. Okay. Now I'm going to blend. Actually, I've been using a little stump of a blender pencil. So I think I am going to get rid of that and bring out my new one. I try to get as much use out of my colored pencils, well, all of my art supplies, but colored pencils especially. So I will use them until they cannot be used anymore. That's why I love those pencil extenders. You can buy packs of 10 or 12 on Amazon, and they allow you to continue to use that pencil until it just can't be used anymore. I've seen people sharpen both ends, which is another really great way to get extra use out of your colored pencil. I have not done that because I wind up forgetting. It's not something that I've always done, so I just don't remember to do it. Okay. All right, so now I'm gonna go back in with the black grape and just darken up some of those areas again. And now I'm just gonna add a little bit of white. Certain areas, give them a little bit of highlight, especially where there'd be some curving to make it look a little more three-dimensional. It's very subtle. Okay. All right, I really, really like that. And I like that the hat's a little bit darker, so that's exactly the look that I was going for. So now I'm going to do her skin. Normally I would do her skin first before doing anything else on her, but I really wanted to see how the purples would come out, so I did those first. And before I do that, I'm going to color over this black with my silver and let that dry so I can fix that eye. Okay. So for the skin, I'm using my Crayola Colors of the World pencils. I'm using the Golden family, light, medium, light, and very light. So I'm going to use the very light first. That's the base skin color. And I'm just going to all over color her skin in. So I'm noticing that this is still coloring pretty scratchy. Prismacolors are pretty hard, or excuse me, Crayolas are pretty hard, so they don't go down as nicely or as easily as Prismacolors or some more expensive pencils do, but they are going down pretty well. I actually am not pressing that hard. Usually on other types of paper, paper that is not as of good quality as this, I have to press down pretty hard to get the color to show up. So on this, I'm really using medium pressure, not very much pressure at all. And I'm getting pretty good coverage to start with. So I'm not really having to press hard, or I'm not having to go over it with many, many layers. I'm getting the look that I want pretty much right away. And I realized I left out a little part of her turtleneck, so I'm just gonna add that in. Okay. So next is the darkest color, which is the light medium golden, and that I'll be using around the edges to give dimension and help to establish that her limbs are 3D and not flat. And now for her face, I'm just going around the edges of her face, and I'm not sure if that's just some of the page before it showing through, or yeah, I think it might be. Okay. Sorry, there's a little bit of smudging there or something, and I just wanted to make sure that, okay, that it wasn't something that I don't want to be there permanently. Okay. And then I'm gonna color in a little bit of next to her nose, like where her nose would be if it were drawn in. And then a little bit under her lip. And a little bit under her eyes and over her eyes. And then I'm going to take the light golden and come right next to the light medium, just bringing that color a little bit further out. And again, this is really easy to do because the area is so small that we're having to color. If you were coloring a bigger face, this would take a lot more time and effort to do. But because it's just small area, and then I'm going to go back over it with my very light and just accentuate that light color and just kind of blend everything together. So now I'm going to take my light umber and go over the dots on her face, her little freckles. Sorry if you hear music. Someone's outside playing their music very loud from their car. So hopefully they will go away soon. Okay. And then I'm going to take a very light pink. I am using Deco Pink, and I'm going to add some blush to her cheeks. Now, I am definitely seeing something gray there, and I'm trying to get rid of it. Okay, I don't want anything looking gray in there. Better, okay. All right. And now I'm going to take a little bit of a darker pink. So I'm using raspberry, and I'm just going to very lightly color in her lips. And then I'm going to take seashell pink and just go over that to further lighten it and blend it. I'm going to add a little seashell pink on her cheeks too. Okay. Now I'm going to take that, I'm going to take a green gel pen and do her irises. All right, so now we're going to work on the hair. So I'm still working on what color I want the hair to be. So I am pulling out some colors and checking that. I'm thinking I might like spring green. So I think I'm going to use spring green instead of the chartreuse. So at the top of her hair, it's going to be, actually, I was going to do the top of her hair purple, lighter shades of purple, and then going into green, but I think that's just going to blend too much in with her outfit and her hat. So I think I'm going to use green totally for her hair. So I am going to color the hair an overall color of spring green, and then I'm going to come in with darker colors and give it dimension, shading, and I guess low lights. I don't want to say highlights because I'm not sure highlights are darker colors, but okay. And give this a sharpen. So I'm not being very precise with this because I'm going to be blending, and blending will iron out all of the little imperfections in the coloring. Okay. Yes, I like that color much better for the hair, definitely. So now I'm going to use Kelly Green to add dimension to the hair and add some darker color so it doesn't just look all one color. Our hair is not one color. I'm doing this a little more carefully. So I'm trying to hit the edges of the strands. The top edge. All right, so now I am going to blend this out. And I'm not blending like I did with, say, the hat. I don't necessarily want all of the white out because that adds some highlights into the hair. So I want to blend out the two colors, but I don't want them to look like one solid chunk. I want them to have, I want the strands to have some dimension, and I want a little bit of that white to show through, because it just gives that much more life and dimension to the hair. And as you can see, I'm using strokes. I'm not going back and forth like I did, say, on the hat or on her dress or outfit. Because again, I don't want it to appear that there's a big glop of green on her head. I want it to still have that feel of hair, of strands, of it not being all one color or two colors, being dimensional. Okay, so now I'm going to use my dark green. All right, if I can find where my dark green is. It's getting lost in the fray here. Okay, I think this is it. Yep. Okay, found it. And now this is going to be the last color, and I'm just going to use it very sparingly to add even more dimension. So I might do some of the strands totally in the dark green, especially strands that might be behind another strand or under another strand of hair. I made that strand near her face, right there, a little bit darker for some accent. And as you can see, I'm stroking. I'm not solidly coloring. I want it to be light and more subtle, and again, look like strands of hair. Okay, so I really like that. So now I am going to take my gray. I keep losing my pencils because I have so many out at this point. So I'm going to pick up my 30% warm gray, and now I'm going to add shadow. So I'm going to add a shadow under her hat and against the hair. I'm going to add shadow to her hair that goes across her face. And then shadow under her chin. And then I'm gonna just take some of these major strands and put some gray either on top of or underneath them. You could use a darker gray if you want. I like using a lighter gray, like 30%. Sometimes I'll use 50% depending on what it is, what I'm coloring, but I feel like that way you can make fewer mistakes and you don't wind up putting this dark line where you don't want it. So now I'm going to take this and just add some shadows in on different elements. So on these leaves here. And it's really subtle. It's not supposed to jump out at you. It's just really subtle. And then I'm going to put some along the hair. Just really subtle. It does not show up, and that's fine. You don't want it to show up too far, but when you look at the whole picture, you'll see that things do look dimensional and like they are not flat. So I'm going to add a little bit here around her sleeve. I'm going to add some around the jewelry. And then around this sleeve here. Okay. And then around her fingers there. Just a little bit. All right, so now I want to take the spring green and color her eyebrows. And I'm just going to add a teeny tiny bit of dark green to that. Now I'm going to take my gel pen and add back in the center of the eye. And then I'm going to draw in my lashes on that bottom eye. Oh, much better. Yes. Okay. So we are done with the main, oh, I'm so sorry about that. We are done with the main image, and let me pull this up so you can see more of it. The whole page completed. So now we just have to do the background. So I'm going to use my Carbothello black pastel pencil. Let me just move all these other pencils out of the way. And I'm going to start at the left this time. Start on the top left. And I love the pastels because you do not have to be exact, because when you blend, you will get every little nook and cranny. And I am just bringing it out past the dimensions of the illustration. I don't want it to go all the way to the edge. I just want to bring it a little bit past, and then I can really fade it out to the edge of the page. That's my idea. We'll see if it works. I don't know yet. So I'm going to color maybe half the page, a little bit less, and then come back in and start blending this out. If you've never used chalk pastels before, there are lots of different ways to use them. The pencils, you can actually use them without blending. You can just color with them, just like a normal colored pencil. The only thing is you just have to be aware of smudging, and you definitely, whenever you use pastels, you need to use a fixative to fix it to the page. I use one that I buy from Amazon, actually through my local art store. I didn't even realize that my local art store was the one that it was being sold by. And it works really well. You can, most fixatives, you can use it and then you can still work on the rest of the page. Like if you see some areas where it lacks color or you want to add a little bit more, you can do that even with the fixative on it. It just makes it so the pastel can't spread all over. All right, so I'm going to stop there for now, and I'm going to take my eyeshadow applicator, which I bought from Amazon. It was a pack of like 50 double-sided and double-ended eyeshadow applicators. . And now I'm just going to blend out the color. I absolutely love using chalk pastels for backgrounds. It's so easy. They blend so well, and it's so much less effort than using colored pencils. So now I tend to use more chalk pastels on my backgrounds than I do regular pencils. I also use watercolor and gelatos. If you've never used gelatos, I liken them to the Neocolor 2 because you can use them both wet and dry. And when you wet them, they become like paint, and you can just spread out the color and blend it. Just really, they're super fun to use. So I am probably going to have to go over these circles with the white again. So I'm not being totally careful here. You can see, sorry, I didn't move the page down. Okay. So that's the background so far. So now I'm going to continue. Another reason I really like using chalk pastels is because you don't have to be very exact. You can just color because you know you're going to blend it out. So you don't have to get in all the nooks and crannies perfectly. You don't have to color every little piece of white. I really like that. I like that freedom. Especially when there's a lot of little edges and nooks and crannies like there are on this page. It really helps not to have to get really close to them. going to get as close into the center as I possibly can. It's getting a little scratchier on these inside edges, but it should be fine once I blend it. Now, if you wanted your background, I'm going to keep it like this. I am not going to make it any darker, but if you wanted your background to be even darker than this, you certainly could go over it again with more black or whatever background color you're using to make it even darker. But I like how it is. I don't want it to be totally black, so I'm okay with it being like a dark gray, so I'm okay with that. So I am going to put a piece of paper here so I don't get color on the other page. Hannah's books are double-sided, so you do have to think about that. Okay. Okay, so I'm just gonna go over any parts that I think need a little more blending. Okay, so that's the finished background. So now I am going to go back over some of the parts that might be, bring this back down for you. That might have gotten a little dulled by the colored pen, by the chalk. And just go over them a little bit. Now inside the moon here, I'm actually going to color that with colored pencil. I didn't want to get chalk all in here and all over the place, so I'm just using my black colored pencil very lightly. And then I'm going to take my blender and blend that out. And then I'm going to take my black and very, very lightly just go over some of these areas that I want to be a little darker near her outfit, near the outline of this symbol. Near the broom edges. Oh, let me go up a little bit. Sorry. Near the broom edges. Outside the branches. I just want a little more darkness to be where it would just typically be a little bit darker. I'm not being very precise with this, just sort of general. And like in here, it would be a little bit darker. Just super, super light. And if you find you went a little bit harder than you wanted to, you can just use your blender and blend that out. Should be no problem. All right, so now I'm gonna take my Signo pen and add stars. So I'm using my piece of paper to cover what I've already covered so it doesn't smear and smudge. So just gonna make sure I'm happy with the blending here up at the top, which I'm not. So just gonna do a little bit more. Just make sure that's all exactly the way I want it before I add my stars in. Okay. So at first, I'm just going to add random dots around. And every so often, I just rub my pen on my blotter paper just to make sure there's no chalk or anything clogging up the tip. Kind of gets off anything that's sticking on there and making it harder to do your stars. So I'm doing stars about maybe 3/4 of the way down. So now I'm going to add them in like a cluster in like a wave. So I'll show you how that looks. So just gonna come in and make a bunch of dots. In a cluster. And I just make them take a shape. So I'm just making them look as if they're wavy. It's a wavy twinkle. And then I'm just gonna bring this one up. And then back down. Sometimes I make multiple depending on the page, or I'll have them be smaller section, but this one I wanted to go all across the page. And I just keep adding dots until I am satisfied with how it looks. And so there's one, and then I'm gonna do another one over here. It just kind of gives it that fantasy look. And you can make them thick or you can make them thin. Can make them go up, down. However you want. And then I'm just going to add some more just random stars around, just a few more, not too many. Helps if you hold your paper down, because the paper will kind of buckle, especially when you're coloring a double-sided book like this and on the left page. Okay, so I'm gonna come in closer so you can see that a little bit better. So I really like that. I think it adds to the fantasy look of it. So I'm just going to do a few more finishing touches. I'm going to come in with the white gel pen over these little circles, especially the small ones. So they look white. And then I'm going to add some dimension into this symbol. There's no right or wrong way to do it. I just do what feels right to me and what I think looks good. And then I'm going to take my black, actually I think I'm going to use silver, and go over the line of the jewelry here. And then I'm going to use my fine liner gel pen and just outline those little petals so they show up better. I think they're getting a little lost among the hair. And I'm going to add a little bit of white in there. And then there's like a little black bead up at the top. So I'm just going to do that with some black, little bead at the top. So I'm just going to do that with some black so it shows up. So I think the page is finished. I'm really excited. I love how it turned out. I hope you enjoyed this color along. Please like if you did and put a positive comment. I would really appreciate that. I would also love it if you would subscribe to my channel, as I'm going to be doing more color alongs like this that you can join me for. So would love a like and subscribe and would really appreciate it. Thank you so much as I try to grow my channel. So hope you enjoyed this. Hope you love your page. And thank you so much. And I will see you next time. Take care. Bye-bye.